Welcome to the broadcast, everybody. My name's Trevor, and welcome to another iteration of your NBA player prop picks of the day, hosted by pinesports.com. Unfortunately, we had our first losing day yesterday, but that's going to happen in sports betting. We still got one right. We went 1-2 yesterday. We were just a little bit too confident in those plus odds picks, although PJ Tucker did have 2 assists, and Miami, in and of themselves, racked up a lot of assists yesterday in a big win against the Atlanta Hawks. So the intuition was right, just slightly off. 1 assist off to be exact. Nonetheless, we're still 6-3 for the week and up over 2 units. We're going to go back to basics today because I was looking through all the games, looking through the player prop cheat sheet over on Pine Sports, of course, and with injuries, with matchups, I had a really hard time picking 3 good picks for you, but of course all the tools over at Pine helped me do that. So these are going to be my 3 picks for the day for what turns out to be a harrowing set of games on this NBA Thursday. Let's get it. So first up, I got Anthony Edwards over 2.5 threes. Yes, it's at minus 150 odds, but that's how much of a lock I think that it is that we can go ahead, put a unit down on it, and still see a decent return. The robot really likes the over. He's hit 3 threes in at least 4 out of the past 5 games. The only time absent of that is, of course, Houston, with a projection of 4.69. Nice against Memphis in this upcoming game. You also see that over the course of the season, Memphis they're in the bottom half of the league in terms, or top half of the league rather, in terms of 3-pointers allowed, averaging right around 12.75 threes per game allowed to opposing teams. But what makes me very confident in this picks are just not so much the matchup, but just what the Minnesota Timberwolves do. Since, in the past month rather, since December 15th, the Minnesota Timberwolves are the only team shooting over 40 3-pointers a game. Absolutely insane. And look, you even have a little bit of a gap between them and Milwaukee, who comes in number 2. And also, just taking Anthony Edwards in isolation, he has hit at least 3 threes in all but 15 games this season. I think that's a pretty good mark overall, and has shown the ability to get a lot of shots. I think he'll put up 3, maybe even 4, but at 3, I think we can go ahead and make this one a lock, even at 150 odds. So my next pick is going to be Khris Middleton under 6.5 assists and minus 130 odds. The robot likes the under for this one, and so do I, even though I gotta say he's balled out in Charlotte the past 2 games. 9 assists, 11 assists against the Hornets. But this one really comes down to the matchup against Golden State, who doesn't give up a lot of assists. The projection is at 5.27, and I think it could go even lower than that, because you see that Charlotte has the 2nd most assists allowed over the course of the season this year. On the other side, Golden State has the 2nd fewest, only being beat out by Boston, but that's just by a hair. So very close to going ahead and getting that crown for defensive merit. Speaking of defensive merit, they also allow the 7th fewest points per game in the past month. So not going to be a lot of scoring opportunities as opposed to someone like Charlotte, who's in the top half of the league when it comes to points allowed per game. Finally, and you don't want to get too caught up in patterns when it comes to sports betting, but Khris Middleton hasn't had more than 2 consecutive games with over 6.5 assists this entire season. Most of the time, he really resides somewhere between that 3 to 5 assist mark, and just because of that, we can kind of get about an assist and a half of buffer. I think that's going to be really good for us. I'm confident when taking this at minus 130 odds. So Khris Middleton under 6.5 assists against the Golden State Warriors. That's the key here. So for our last pick of the day, I was struggling just a little bit because I didn't know whether to go with PAR, PA, or PR, so I just went with good old points. Josh Hart over 13.5 points. He's hit it in 5 of 5 previous games. His projection against the Clipper is right at 16. If you take into account the past 10 games, his projection is actually at 18, something you can see on the player prop cheat sheet over on Pine. But then let's go ahead and look at the Clippers, because I think that's a huge reason why I'm hesitant to go ahead and maybe tally on assists or rebounds. That's why I think keeping it simple right here is going to be very valuable for us because we see that the Clippers give up the 11th most points per game to 2-3 combo players who play at least 20 minutes per game. So that gives me a little bit of confidence in going ahead and still picking points over what's a pretty good Clippers defensive team overall. And it's just his performance over the past 8 games. So we see each of the past 8 games on the scatter plot on the screen right now, and he has hit it in every single game. Sure, we had a 4-game stretch right there that was 14, 15, 15, 14, but has gone back to over 20s, has hit over 20 in 4 out of the 8 games. So I'm really thinking that we can expect probably about 16 points. Still would be a little bit hesitant to go ahead and pick 14.5. Very comfortable at 13.5 though. That 1 point really do make a difference. So those are going to be my 3 picks for the day, but I want to know how you're playing tonight, especially tonight, because I feel like there's a lot of injury situations, a lot of players that might hit the over when they're really not expected to. So I want to know, what is your prop lock of the day? Go ahead and drop that down in the comments below. I'm super interested to see how y'all are playing this. Of course, go ahead and drop Pine Sports a subscribe and a like. It helps us massively. Thank you so much for your early support in this first few days. But if you want a little bit more insight to go ahead and make your picks or your fantasy decisions, go ahead and head over to pine-sports.com, where you can get access to all of the tools that I use to source these picks today, as well as Pine Predict, an AI model that you can enter in your own stats to predict the winner against the spread and over-unders for all 4 major North American sports. And it's all 100% for free. Come say hi in the community Discord. By the way, links for everything are down in the description below. Let's get back to winning today. We will see you tomorrow. Best of luck and deuces.